Town of Prescott Valley Work Study Session, October 1st, 2020. Welcome, everyone. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hunt.
Here.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Here.
Councilmember Packard.
Present.
Councilmember Grossman.
Still here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Nye.
Present.
Mayor Polguta.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on, item 3A, Economic Development Update. For the last time, we'll be introducing Mr. Ben Hooper.
Are we clapping
Welcome,
because
sir.
it's the last time, or clapping because it's Ben? Because it's Ben.
Right.
Yay.
I like that. Mayor, Council, thanks again for the opportunity to come before you this evening and give you an update on what's going on in the world of retail and commercial economic development here in Prescott Valley. It isn't an enormous amount more from my previous report. I had mentioned in my last report in July the Circle K, the Discount Tire, the Alliance Hardware and Lumber. All of those projects are moving along, and you see the physical movement with the Alliance site as well as the Circle K. Again, Discount Tire is looking for about first quarter of next year. One really neat thing to report is the addition of a new business to our community in the next few months. It's called Archer Bikes. They're out of Mesa. They sell both, traditional bicycles as well as the, electric and I think the gas-powered ones as well that you see cruising around town. And they're going to be up over in that little L-shaped shops at the Crossroads Center, where the SAS Shoes and the Verizon is. They're going to be rounding out that space. So that's very exciting to have them joining our community. I'm also happy to announce, and I believe the final development plans have already been submitted and possibly come before you. Popeye's Chicken will be coming into Prescott Valley. They'll be taking the pad again in Crossroads, the Home Depot side of the street. If there's the Subway, that's the end cap for that L-shaped buildings. The Popeyes will be immediately west of that as a standalone restaurant with a drive-through. So we're going to see a little bit of chicken wars going on between our Chick-fil-A and our new Popeyes. So
You don't really hear that phrase too often that you just said there, chicken wars.
Well, that is where the term playing chicken came from. Actually, little known fact.
Thanks, Ben.
And so, in the past 3 months, I'm glad you like that one, Mary. In the past 3 months, I've spent a lot of time taking meetings, especially via Zoom, some in person up here as well, with a variety of brokers, developers, and grocers, with definitely still a focus on grocery. I wish that there was more that I could tell in a public setting, but I think in the next 3 to 6 months, you're going to hear some cool things that are happening with regards to potential new restaurants, with regards to some potential new commercial development. I don't want to set people up for disappointment, though. As of right now, there's nothing in the grocery area or arena that is moving forward, but there are feelers out, and I'm hopeful in the next 3 to 5 years we'll see a new grocery store here in Prescott Valley. And the other thing that I wanted to touch on is I mentioned in my last update, the Aspire Sports Group is looking to come in. I described a little bit about that project. I'll leave the full description for the applicants when they appear before you in November. My understanding is that was approved by our planning and zoning. There's a few things they need to polish off in October, but that approval has been given. And so they will appear before you. That's something that's going to inject conservatively about $15 million each year into the community. I won't be here, unfortunately, in November to be able to say this, but I would absolutely 100% from an economic development perspective recommend approval of that project. And other than that, that's my update. I very much appreciate and deeply value the opportunity to come here and serve the residents of Prescott Valley. I received an opportunity that moves us, myself and my wife, back closer to our families. And so it's always bittersweet and maybe feeling a little more bitter at the moment right now, just because I have loved my time here. I feel like Prescott Valley became a home, and so I say I'm going back home, but I also feel like I'm leaving a home. And so, again, I just deeply, deeply value this opportunity to serve the residents of this community. Thank you.
Then I just want to be the first one to say thank you for what you've done. Thanks for just coming here, giving the service that you've done, and like you said, making Prescott Valley your second home. No one can doubt you, or no one can question why you'd want to move back closer to home. And they're lucky to have you back there in the great state of Ohio. So with that being said, Council, you have anything else for Mr. Hooper?
What are you going to miss from here?
I'm sorry?
What are you going to miss from here that won't be there?
Well, for one, I would say Laura Lee Nye. I know that she's not going to be there. There's nobody
I
like you.
set myself up for that one, and darn you. What's your real answer?
The real answer is I have met so many amazing people in this community, and that is just something that's irreplaceable. I'm only going to be able, and that means I just have to come back and visit, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to see that. I will also, of course, miss the landscape. I will miss the fast-paced growth and development that we're seeing in this town. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm not sure that I could prioritize one over the other, except for the amazing people that I have met, both on this council, on staff, working for Town Manager Tarkowski. I mean, the list of folks goes on and on. Mike and Marnie have just been, I'm going to cry if I look at them too much here, so, but they are just fantastic, and I'm going to miss many, many people.
One of the things I enjoyed so much about getting acquainted with you, Ben, was seeing our community through your new eyes. And Marnie's nodding her head. That was so fascinating to me. I think maybe I had lived here too long, and the level of excitement and appreciation you brought to where we live helped me relook at everything. So that was a gift you gave us, and I want to thank you for that, as well as the excellence on the job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Councilwoman?
Yeah, man, I'm going to miss your little briefs I get from my little briefs to the fire board and Historical Society, not lately, but I really, really appreciate it. You're easy to answer. That's really kind of cool. You come in, I go in and I say, hey, I need something in 20 minutes. You get it to me in 15. So we're going to miss that. So you be cool out there, right? You and Hope have a good time.
It'll be easy to stay cool in Ohio, I promise.
I'm going to be in Ohio, that's right.
See, we're going to miss all of that, the repartee.
Councilwoman?
And yes, Ben, I remember when I took the Prescott Valley Citizens Academy and meeting you for the first time, and how on fire you were for our community, and it was contagious. And I really want to thank you for all you've done for our community, and I hope you do come back quite often to get to see what seeds you've planted and where it's going to. So thank you for all your hard work, and just know that you've done a really fantastic job, and you've made a difference, and that's what's so important. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
I just want to thank you and your wife for the dedication to our town. We do appreciate everything you've given us, and all our best to you.
Thank you, Councilman. I would not be the man I am without the woman that stands beside me.
Oh.
Councilman?
Yeah, Ben, for the short amount of time that you've been here, and there's so much that you've done, but what I'm going to miss the most is your enthusiasm, your personality, and your wife, and your wife's personality. I mean, the two of you are just such full of energy and enthusiasm for the town, and inspiration to anybody who works with you. I mean, you're just, great to talk with, and as Don said, when we go in and ask questions of you, I mean, they're right there, they're on point, and you're just a great source of information for us. So thanks again. Continued success in your new position. You could be working for a university, I understand?
Correct, Bowling Green State University.
Well, congratulations on that, and we look forward to speaking to you when you come and visit.
I look forward to that as well. Thank you, Councilman.
Councilwoman?
Thank you, Ben, for your energy and hopes too, and best of luck to you. The university's lucky to be having you as an employee, and really good luck with your home too.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right, Ben, thank you. Thank you
Everybody,
very much.
Thanks again.
Marnie, you're up.
Leg off this one of the three-legged stools here. Ben, we're going to miss you too. It's been just amazing to work with as we build the community together and just so supportive. Anyway, glad to be here, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. It's been quite a month. We're getting back to rolling through some things. So I've got a little PowerPoint. I think I have it on a loop so you can follow it. Anima told me how to do it, and I just already forgot.
I think your clicker fell on the floor.
Thank you. This is a loop from Saturday. We had our Team Up to Clean Up 24, and we did more of a drive-through event, although we did have some people come out and they wanted to sit and have lunch with us. So it was really a lot of fun. The first is we did turquoise t-shirts this year, which is always the most fun part about the event part of it, we think, and then our logo. And then there's pictures of folks that were participated. So we'll loop through that while I go through the report. Coming up October 13th, we're having our open mic candidate program. Limited seating. We think we can we're doing it at Little Dealer, Little Prices showroom. So we've got about 55, 60 seats that we'll be able to have open, but it's where candidates running for state, local, and federal offices, they're all been invited, come and speak to our business leaders and anyone else that comes about why they're running and why they want your vote. So we do this annually, but we're really excited to get back to a quarterly breakfast. As you know, the last one we had was in January. We will be videotaping, working with Signals AD, and then putting it up on our social media platforms. So those that cannot come can still also see it and hear from the candidates. So, and we're getting some pretty good responses from people. So if you want to come, get your reservations in now, because we will have to limit it and we will have to cut it off. We're partnering with Yavapai College, Lisa Ragosa. With next week, we're doing a Hispanic business visitation program, and we'll be recognizing and honoring our Hispanic businesses through Hispanic Heritage Month. And we're a little late on this, but again, trying to make things work with the restrictions that we're in. But we're going to go and visit about 12 businesses, giving them certificates and a basket of goodies from Yavapai College and things we put together so that we thank them for serving and having their business in Prescott Valley. And we did these beautiful certificates all in Spanish, so it's going to be a fun couple of days. We'll do Monday and Wednesday mornings. We're planning on meeting. We had our first meeting for the High Flying High Turkey Drive today. Again, we're waiting to hear from Fry's Corporate on their restrictions and guidelines. Obviously, you know, our community, Prescott Valley, is the biggest one that turns out. We have tons of volunteers that cluster around the doors and just attack people and get tons and tons of turkeys, and we're going to have to limit that a little bit. So we're working with them to follow their guidelines and restrictions, but we still will be having it in some way, shape, or form. Carrie Riley at Foothills Bank has stepped up. They're located right there across from Fry's to possibly do the drop-off in her parking lot. So it will definitely take place on November the 23rd. Hall of Festival Lights programming is coming along. We already have Yavapai College Brass Band for holiday music and performances by Liberty Traditional Schools. Again, that's going to be at the amphitheater, the Civic Center, where we do the lighting. I know we're having lighting. We are going to light this place up. And so, again, social distancing is always easy on the amphitheater lawn, and that's where we have all the audience. And then, of course, the parade is in plans, and we're working on that, social distancing with the parade staging, and then just asking people. Most people come in family groups, so they will be together, and hopefully we'll kind of watch the sidewalks. But we're going to keep going. We're going to keep celebrating. It's been a long time, and people want things to do, and the holidays are very important to get together and celebrate, especially the year we've been through. And Valley of Lights is going to be awesome. As I said, it's going to be the ultimate social distancing event. We're looking forward to opening that up on Thanksgiving night. So excited about that, and I met with Jeff, and they're already raising the displays, which is a big deal. You lay them all out, and then he starts raising them and then running the lines. So that's going to be ready and open for our sneak peek dinner, which will be the 22nd of November, and we still plan to have a sneak peek dinner. And how that looks, it'll be how we can make it work. But we want to thank all the volunteers and the sponsors that invest so much time and money into the premier holiday destination in northern Arizona. So we're going to do that. Our Business Academy continues through October 14th. It is being done virtually via Zoom, and it's working out really well. Not a large attendance, but it's kind of a icebreaker for us, but it seems to be, I don't want to go back to that all the time, but I think as a hybrid, it works out. If you can't make a class, you can zoom in zoom in and still attend if you have kids problems and babysitter problems. And so we'll start probably, as most of us are doing anything, it's going to go hybrid, so we can do both. And then just a couple of notes from Saturday. We had 47 community members participate with volunteer help by the Yavapai College Athletic Department. So we had coaches from volleyball, baseball, soccer. Then we also had members of the administrative staff. We had Miss Yavapai County, Alexis Niekamp, and then Carrie Riley from Managers Hills Bank. And then we had hot dogs cooked by our very own Chief Freitag and Rick Chase, our fire marshal. So lots of things going on. We do have a mixer coming up on October. We're in October 1st. Okay. October 21st, and it's at the event spot. Limited. We're going there. They have a series of restrictions and guidelines, and we're going with that. It's 50 people. They have to register ahead of time. There is no charge to attend, but that's going to be limiting that. But it's the first one we've also had, and we have a ribbon cutting on Wednesday, October the 7th. Lessons by Lexi, who is also my hip-hop dance instructor. I take lessons there. But we're doing ribbon cutting for her business in the mall. So, again, invited to attend. We'll be following new protocols on our ribbon cuttings for as long as we need to. But we're getting back out in the businesses and the community. Brady continues to make the tying Prescott Valley together, and I did submit a monthly report from the activities of September. You got that today. So is there any questions?
Awesome, Marnie, as always. Any
Okay.
questions for Marnie?
I got one.
Councilman?
Regarding the Valley of Lights, are you going to do the walkthrough again this year?
Yes, we are.
Awesome.
Yes, we're planning. That would be Tuesday, December the 1st. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, bringing up the rear. Mr. Paredes. Marnie, you said December 1st is the... Sorry, December 1st is the walkthrough? Is that what you said?
It should be it's the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and
First
I
Tuesday,
believe
okay.
that should be December 1st.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you for a couple minutes here. Give you my quarterly update. I'll promise I'll make it quick. Last time I spoke about a project that I wasn't able to let you know about, but now I could. They're doing some improvements. A company that PVDF had been working for 3 years, approximately 3 years, and so it did not locate in Prescott Valley. They needed an existing building. They were able to find one to the community to the north, working with Chino. This company I visited various times. They came over here. They're out of Orange, and they bought an existing building, 25,000 square foot, and about 40 some jobs in manufacturing. The company is called Thermovac Technology. Really awesome place. If you ever get to visit their operation in Orange County, it's great. What they do is for the aerospace industry, the military engine, propulsion, shuttles, the propulsion industry, the medical industry. They do brazing, heat treating, and coating of products. So they service the manufacturers of these products, and so they do a very good job. They have these contracts all over the country, all over the world. They are service made in the USA, and so man is very proud of that, and as we all are. And so really good guy, and they located, and right now he's doing some awesome improvements to that building out in Chino. I don't have the address with me right now, but that is a good addition. And that came from many, many meetings and many phone calls and a lot of visits into Orange and vice versa. And so that is the project that was, I was going to tell you last time, but I couldn't. And so now I could. Another project, this one I really can. It's similar in size, about 25,000 square foot. That is a very sweet spot in terms of industrial development, that 25,000 square foot facilities. In the future, I'd like to tell you about, we're crossing our fingers. They are looking in Prescott Valley specific. And so maybe the next time I am able to tell you a little bit more, but I'm very excited to work with this project as well. Again, working with a specific site selector from the Upper Midwest, and I don't know if it's Upper Midwest, but it's Midwest, and really awesome team he has out there. I've been working with them since probably December, January of this year. And so we have weekly meetings, whether it's Zoom, whether it's phone call, whether it's emails. My next step is to have a proper Zoom call with the rest of the team, the engineering team, the design team. We've already set up from our end that aspect of it. So we're moving along with this project, and we're crossing our fingers as well. It's not a like industry, but it is in terms of job creation. It is. We're looking at 50 plus on that one as well. So we're also doing again, looking at buildings. Again, that's one of the things that it's a little difficult here because it's a supply and demand type of issue. The inventory is not. So I'm out there proactively working with Phoenix-based developers to see if they're interested in some type of spec building. I know now this year they started doing a couple of enormous ones in Phoenix. And so on the industrial manufacturing side, it's my job to get in front of them to make sure, saying, don't forget about us. Maybe on the smaller side, they build a few 25,000 square foot facilities that we can fill up fairly quick. I don't like turning projects away. A lot of the projects that we work with don't have the funds to build or have the money or the time to build a couple $1 million worth it, but they are very interested in getting into an existing building and retrofitting it. So again, meeting with a number of developers down in Phoenix, and hopefully one of them would want to build something in spec for us up here. We're doing some virtual industry roundtable discussions. What I had planned to do various ones, in-person virtual roundtable for the manufacturers throughout the year. With the pandemic, obviously that wasn't able to occur, but we are doing them virtually now. It is usually with a company or a couple of companies with Arizona Commerce Authority, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, and other various business support programs that allows a in-depth discussion specifically for that manufacturer, whether it's a 50-employer manufacturer or a 5-employee manufacturer. Similar needs, however, the smaller ones might have a little more, the smaller ones run into different types of issues, and so we're there to help support. It looks like the first one that we did was about 4 weeks now. We're looking at possibly getting them a small grant through the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Again, it's another arm of the governor's office, and so again, getting out there and making sure that we as at the manufacturers here in Prescott Valley take advantage of all the support programs that are out there, all the grants that are out there, to support them to actually keep them and it's very important, not just the new jobs that are created by new companies, but also the retention of the existing ones. And so this is part of our retention effort to retain those companies here in our beautiful town. For the final quarter of 2020, we're going to continue the outreach to companies, and a lot of them in California, doing our vetted list that we have and continue to create and enlarge. Again, it's not just shooting for the stars. We do proper vetting internally of these manufacturers that are in other states, and just new marketing and to these target markets, to these target companies and markets in California. We're very blessed to receive a couple of awards, one of them with NACOG, the office did. it's a business leadership award. I was honored. We give a lot of. I liked the opportunity was given to me when I was in college down in Tempe many years ago to do internships. So I like giving the opportunity for young in recent college grads, whether it's Yavapai College or through the NAU program or otherwise, give them a first opportunity. And so I work day in and day out with NACOG, and so they work with me on 3-4 month programs, and they come and work for the office, and I teach them economic development and different type of marketing techniques for their future. And also thank you to Marnie. We received Ben and I received the President's Choice Award. Thank you very much. We're going to miss Ben. We're an awesome team. We're very proud of representing Prescott Valley, and we're going to miss you, Ben. But us trio, us three of us, the three amigos is what Marnie calls us. We're a good team, and so currently I'm flying solo at the office. So if you're looking at, I'm looking for a staff. So if you know of someone, please send them my way. Send him or her my way. Give me a call or drop me an email, and have them send me their resume. So that is all I have.
Awesome.
If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thanks, Mike. Any questions for Mike, Councilwoman?
So, Mike, thank you. You look healthy and well. How are you feeling?
Good. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, as long as I don't walk or bend over to pick something else, I'm good. If I'm standing here, I'm okay.
You look good.
Remember in January, I couldn't speak?
Yeah.
No.
So,
Thank you very much.
how many vacant 25,000 square foot buildings do we have?
Zero.
Zero. Okay. And why is this Midwesterner if they relocate? What's the
No, the
reason?
company is not Midwestern. The Site Selector company, their home office is in the Midwest.
So why would that business relocate?
Because
The one you're working with, that's
I know how
50
to answer it. I
jobs.
just don't know if I can answer it now.
Whether
It's they're not relocating. They're establishing They would like to establish the company in this area, in this region, because of.
Mike, I don't want you to go too far out on that.
that's
we don't
okay.
need to worry about that.
Yeah,
That's fine.
if I say it, I'm going to give it away.
Yeah, no, that's
But
fine.
it's not a relocation. They want to establish a company.
That answers my
They
question.
want, yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
Vice Mayor?
You tread that well.
Yeah.
I think we need an entrepreneur to come in here and build us at least one of those buildings.
Yeah. Well, what I'm proposing is,
Yes.
we've been working for so long now. What we propose is, a project of maybe 100,000 square foot, split it into 25.
Yes, that's
Start leading,
exactly right,
and
Mike.
And that's what I present.
Okay, thank you. That was going to be my question.
Yeah.
And
No, definitely.
Sam's Club?
We have no control over that building, so we're not even.
It's
Thanks, Mike.
the intent is continuing, and I keep pushing it. Whether it's I remember a couple of years ago, those LA companies that we relocated, they were all around the 10,000 square foot,
Right.
and a lot of them we called. They said this building just got on the market. Guess what? That afternoon, one of the PV companies at a full price. So that demand is there.
Well, I also want to compliment you for pressing on and overcoming what you did. It's just wonderful to see you standing there with a big smile on your
Thank you very much. It's still, I'm still going through a lot of specialists, but thank you.
shouldered on.
Thank you. Yeah. I never lose faith.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on, item 3B, Library Arts, Parks, and Rec reorganization presentation. Welcome, ma'am.
There she is, Wonder Woman.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, it is so amazing to be here. Who would have thought? Here I am. So, I am here to introduce to you the Community Services Department, the super department, Library Arts, Parks, and Recreation. guys got to liven up. You look like you're just, come on. So, let's see if I got this right. There we go. So why would we do such a crazy thing? Because we're smart. And plus, Larry and Karen had the foresight to see what a great opportunity this was. Granted, this has been a long-standing discussion with town management to merge the two departments. So I'm just glad I was able to be the one over it. And the proposal. So we saw this. I was like, hey, this is a good opportunity. Let me take this to Larry and Karen and see what they say. And oh my God, they said yes. So I was very excited. We could consolidate both departments and start to leverage the talent and create excitement and fun again. And that's what I think this department needs. And I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well. So our org chart of the super department, we did, as you can see, it is a very large department. We have 46 full and part-time staff, not including the million seasonal parks, sports, and aquatic staff. We did do considerable reorganization to set this department up for success. And again, thank you to Larry and Karen for giving us this opportunity to bump some staff up that have a lot of knowledge. Bobby Kieran, or Robert Kieran, is the deputy director. Bobby was in Parks and Recreation for many years. And thanks, Karen, again, we had a library manager position open, and this was a great opportunity to leverage his great managerial skills, so I brought him over to the library. So little did we know that now he has 2 feet in both areas. And let me tell you, he is in his element right now and is, I don't think I've seen him more happier than what he is right now. We bumped up Nick Grabluski as the parks manager. We split that, so Nick is over the parks and Jason Elmer is now over recreation. Jocelyn Joseph is still, she's the library manager, but she oversees most of the library operations. And we have Tess Willis is our executive admin supervisor. So she is our super over all the admins. She's really the boss. So, and also the other thing is arts and culture will be directly off of me. So I will be overseeing that with Isabella, who it's been really great working with her. We've had some more bumps. We gave Nick a senior tech position and Jocelyn a library supervisor position to help her out. Otherwise, she would really, really be overwhelmed with the amount of people that she would have to manage. So we went through a discovery phase, Tess, Bobby, and I, talking to staff, going over compiled trends. What were some of their concerns? What were some issues? So we realized that there's professional development needed, a lot of out-of-the-box thinking, support from leadership, high profile of marketing events. The master plan is overwhelming, and we need to evaluate our programs. After talking to staff, I'm really, really excited. They are talented. They are ready to go. They just felt a little held back, so we are excited to just go. We did rebranding. So this is the logo that we have for our rebranding. Prescott Valley Community Services, Library Arts, Parks and Recreation. I think it encompasses all 4 areas very well. And so far, everybody seems to be very excited about it. Right, Larry? Lapper. He likes it Lapper. At least it's not LARP. Live action role play. So moving forward, some of the big things, I have gone through the 100 and some odd page master plan for the Parks and Recreation. And we have Parks and Recreation leadership will meet with the consultant in a couple weeks and to dissect some of the 3 to 5 top priorities. When I was on the phone with the consultant last week, he talked about some of the things that he thinks we should work on because we don't have $124 million. So we need to focus on facilities and spaces for events. environmental education, reinvest in our parks and trail systems, and of course the big picture, Agua Fria Park, which I thought, oh, what is that out? That's what, two years out? No, it's the unicorn, as you called it?
The unicorn.
Unicorn. Come on, Larry. What do we do? What do we do to get that going? I'm ready. Let's go. So that's what we have. That's community services. I'm tired, people. I'm really tired, but I'm excited, and I think we can really make this partnership and this merge an amazing opportunity for not only the community, but some staff who are just have some great ideas and really want to be let go of. So, any questions?
I'll start.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Yeah, first of all, I love the new brand, the logo. I mean, that's awesome. It tells a great picture. But shortly after you were named as the new position here, I popped in on you, and we had a little discussion, and the fact that she said that she doesn't know what she's doing is a total lie. And anybody who doubts that she doesn't know what she's doing, come see me. I'll tell you all about it. For those, okay, and part of the conversation that we had was the fact that you do come from a background in another community where they did have the merging of the Parks and Rec and the library.
Yes.
And just knowing your enthusiasm before knowing that, I was excited. And I'm really looking towards great things coming out of the new merger and the new people and where they're going. So congratulations.
Thank
and it's all ahead of us, and we're all excited for you and with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman?
So, Casey, I'm very proud of you, and it's always good to have fresh eyes on something, especially when those eyes are energetic and excited. So that's awesome. You and I talked a little bit about using the Parks and Rec Commission a little bit more, and maybe introducing a park a month to them and inviting residents and asking them, you know, here's our master plan, what do you think? Kind of doing that a little bit more, because I don't know how many people commented originally when those comments were out. I think several did, but this way we can include families and what have you. So
absolutely.
Anyway, and I'm one of those people that wants Agua Fria here as soon as we can get it here. So count me in.
Thank you, Lori. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome job, Casey. Thank you.
Wait. You don't get away with that easy. I get to reverse roles. On the 10th of December, I will no longer be an elected official, but that allows me to be a full-time volunteer. Heads up.
Okay.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you. Thank you. I'm out.
Thanks, Casey. Moving on, item 3C, consideration of pledged revenue refunding obligations. Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Tonight I have Bob Casillas here from Stiefel, and he'll be going over this information with you. From time to time we look at potentially refinancing some of our debt to save the town money. And with that, I will go over to Bob.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, fellow council members. Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. As Ms. Pell had mentioned, we have been working feverishly the last several weeks, working with Ms. Pell, Mr. Tarkowski, the rest of your management and financing team. Mr. Gales from Greenberg Trotter is also here, your bond counsel. Recall, I know there are some new faces that the last time we had the opportunity to be here in front of the council for a financing was back in 2018. Time does go by quickly, but here we are today, and we wanted to highlight a few items on the PowerPoint presentation. I'll not go through in detail, and please, as we go through the information, if there are any questions that you have, feel free. I want to try to make this an interactive process, if you would, please. and I'm dangerous with a clicker. I hope I don't send a missile to Russia. But on this page is a lot of detail. I can't read it on the screen here, but one of the takeaways, if you would please, this highlights for the town the debt that you have issued over the years. One of the things I wanted to bring to the attention of the council is that hard copies, I'll wait for Ms. Pell just to get those in front of everyone.
Thank you.
And I'm on slide number 2. But this highlights, as I mentioned, the debt and bonds that you've issued over the years. And the town has been very opportunistic and judicious in taking advantage of lower interest rates over the last several years. For instance, back in 2011, those were refinancing bonds, similar to what the town will be considering today and next Thursday, when you'll be considering the actual resolution. But that transaction saved about $400,000 net present value savings at that time. Likewise, the 2012 bonds, those were refinancing bonds, and the town and the management team at that time identified that refinancing, which saved over $750,000 net present value savings. And then 2015 was another refinancing opportunity that the town took advantage of, which had considerable savings as well, over $600,000. And so here we are today looking at an opportunity to refinance some of your outstanding bonds. As you no doubt have read and heard on the news, the financial markets this year have been very volatile at times for various reasons, whether it's economic news, geopolitical news, not only in America but across the world, that affect or impact the financial markets. But we continue to be at an interest rate environment that is very low, certainly for tax-exempt bonds and also taxable bonds as well. We're seeing across the country a lot of refinancings being done on a taxable basis, and I'm going to come back to that in a couple of slides ahead. One of the other things I wanted to mention, which is a reflection of the council, certainly the town management, that you have very highly rated bonds from Standard & Poor's, double A bonds. So that's again, we're going to go through a process with Standard & Poor's to get, if you deem it appropriate, next week to go forward to get those bonds rated, and we'll be working closely. And Mr. Tarkowski's given me a thumbs up because the last several years he has been wanting the AAA rating, which few issuers across the country have, but we're continuing to present the town in the most positive light possible, and with your economic the vibrancy and continued growth taking place, your sales tax and other things, Ms. Pell and the rest of financial team, including Mr. Tarkowski, Mr. Ryan as well, that Mr. Judy as well, that we have also been able to demonstrate to the Standard & Poor's and the other rating agencies the financial position of the town, which is very favorable. So we'll go through that process. On the next page, we wanted to highlight the particular bonds that we're looking at to refinance. Right now, and this is the shaded, I'm a little bit colorblind, so it appears green to me on my page, but the 2011 bonds, the 2015, the 2017 and the 2018 bonds. We're looking and been working with Mr. Tarkowski, Ms. Pell, and the rest of the team. We're continuing to work with Mr. Gales because the 2012 bonds and the 2011 bonds, when they were originally issued, they had debt service reserve funds that were funded at the time. So we're looking to refinance also, which isn't shaded, but we're going to incorporate that into the transaction, the flexibility for the town to take advantage and refinance those bonds as well. On a taxable basis, as I mentioned previously, because of the way that tax laws were changed, I'm giving you more detail than you want, forgive me, back in 2018, that to advance refund bonds on a tax-exempt basis, you have to do it 90 days in advance of the call date. Those bonds are callable on January 2022, but if you refinance them on a taxable basis, you can do those immediately. So even with taxable interest rates, as I mentioned, across the country, a lot of refinancings are being done on a taxable basis. Even on a taxable basis, those bonds make sense and actually adds to the overall net present value, estimated net present value savings to the town, as well as on a yearly annual cash flow basis. So that's why we wanted to include that flexibility for the town. On this page is a bunch of numbers, so forgive me, but I wanted to highlight at the bottom of the page probably the most, at least for us, the most important metric that we'd like to look at is the net present value savings. Here it's PV savings. And based on current interest rates, we're assuming, and certain financing assumptions in terms of your rating and other things that will be forthcoming, again, if the town decides to go forward next week, that right now in the current market, you could save approximately $1.1 million net present value savings, so net of any costs of issuance that are normally associated with issuing bonds, whether a refinancing or for any new money purposes. So we're very excited about that. We're hoping to, again, because of the fluctuation of rates, it has fluctuated from roughly $900,000 net present value savings to roughly 1.2 or 1.3, but right now, based on today's market, we're hoping to get about a million or 1.1 million net PV savings. That's just part of, at least here, with my colleagues who are also working with Mr. Tarkowski, Ms. Pell, and the rest of the team who were not able to come tonight, but I'll just stop right now for any questions and maybe stop it on this page. As I again mentioned, Mr. Gales is here if there were any questions on the draft documents that have been prepared and that will be finalized by Monday for council packets. But if you had any questions on any of the legal transactional documents, he's here to address those as well.
I did have one quick question. So I take it that there's no prepayment penalties on the prior items that we're prepaying off with the refinancing?
Correct. There are certain call dates or prepayment dates associated with that, and Mr. Gales and our team have been looking at that, but I'm pretty certain there's not a premium or a penalty associated with that. Paul, I believe that is true, so I just want to make sure, since they're more in tune with the legal documents, that he has not come across that, but that's a very good question.
Well, I would hate to think that then we get penalized for prepayment and it's greater than what we would save. So, I just wanted to make sure on that. So.
Yes, and if there were, because even bonds have been refinanced with a premium that if it reduced the savings below the minimum savings that would be in the bond resolution, it would be reflected in that. But the ones we're identifying, there's not that penalty associated.
Great, thank you.
Anything else, Council? Sir, I want to thank you for being here and being extremely thorough with your numbers and your information this evening.
Thank you.
It's been good to see you. You've been faithful to us every time.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
All right, moving on. The IGA with the Yavapai County Flood Control District, Viewpoint Connector, and Mr. Davis will stick around for also 3E installation of hot melt crack seal material.
All right, Fatima, what do I hit over here? It's the little... Now I'm ready.
All right.
Got quite a few slides I wanted to show tonight. Thank you, Fatima, for the help. The item you have before you is the annual, come this time about every year, it's an intergovernmental agreement with Yavapai County Flood Control District. And council may recall that we have a property tax levy countywide, and what Public Works does every year is we make application to the Flood Control District to request funding either for studies and or construction projects. So we do this every year, and we have a great working relationship with the Flood Control District. Lynn Whitman's the director there. In addition, I know Supervisor Mary Mallory, she's in the audience tonight, wanted to cover a few more things, but she works very hard for us to secure the funding to make sure that stormwater management improvements is one of the things we perform here in Public Works. So wasn't really the forefront with the lackluster monsoon period we had, but usually every August we are appreciative of our stormwater management facilities in place with some of the monsoon storms. What I want to do before we call Supervisor Mallory up to make a few comments, I want to show you a few slides of some of the past funding we've secured in the past and some of the projects we've put in place. This particular corridor that we'd like to use the current intergovernmental agreement this year that's noted is what we call the Viewpoint Corridor and the Viewpoint Floodplain Corridor. If you see noted in this particular exhibit, you can see noted in red the current Viewpoint Connector project that's currently being constructed. We anticipate construction of that project to be done after the first of the year. But I want to show you some of the past history. If you look there too, this Viewpoint corridor actually got started. One of the first projects was the Bob Edwards Park Detention Basin. That was built by the private development community, but that's very much a portion of the stormwater management. I always like to point out this particular, it's a wonderful park, but you talk to a drainage engineer, that's like a big bathtub. Council may recall here a couple of years ago on July 15th, that actual park filled up with water and people kayaked over the top of the soccer goals. That's what it's in place for. It does work. And most of the time it doesn't hold any water, but it is in place. It's a stormwater management issue. So that was put into place in 2007, and actually the park improvements came thereafter, and we've improved the park quite a bit. But if you ever notice, that's quite a stormwater management device that's in place. If you can look too, that was in 2007. And we did a 4-year project in 2016, 17, and 18, actually performed the design with money from the Yavapai County Flood Control District, and we did some channelization in there. Council may recall back in those days, that particular crossing in Manly used to overflow, and it was difficult and would wash out and cause access concerns. So that was part of the funding in 15 through 18, 4 years of funding, a phased project. And Council may recall, too, the last portion of that was the Spouse Viewpoint intersection improvements completed just in November of last year. So that was a very good improvement. That particular project was funded by the 1/3 cent sales tax, because I always want to point out, even though we do get around $500,000 to $600,000 a year from the Flood Control District, that helps defray some of the costs. But ultimately, there was about $1 million worth of work at the Spouse Viewpoint to complete those stormwater improvements at the intersection for that channel. So that was funded by the 1/3 cent sales tax. And in the bottom corner, the latest funding that we put towards a project for construction was the Sunset Stormwater Improvements. We just cut a ribbon on that project here in July, and Council may recall we used 2 years of funding then to put that significant stormwater management underground storm drain pipe that took flows both ways. It actually runs behind the Pineview Channel, behind the Kohl's and Walmart Center. So actually the connectivity of this particular Viewpoint drainage runs all the way from the Sunset Lane and has continuity all the way through with private development interest building part of the stormwater management improvements. You can see that corridor ends up at the Bob Edwards Park Detention Basin, and that's where it flows from there. So that's what we've put into place in the past. Have some more work to do on it, but tonight what we're talking about is putting this year's contribution towards the Viewpoint Drive Connector project. I do want to note at the top too that if you look that the 9-barrel 12 by 8 box culvert, in addition to what a triple barrel box culvert in this particular exhibit, you can see in purple where those two are called out, and you can see where the blue there, of course, delineates the FEMA floodplain. As you can see, the Viewpoint Connector Road was designed to stay just out of the floodplain. That is very good design, because what that does too, it adds access restriction there. So Viewpoint Connector can actually add a major arterial. There will be limited access control points, but it'll move a lot of traffic very efficiently due to the floodplain restricting some of that access. And that leads to some of the, these are drone pictures taken last week from Public Works' drone. Larry Prentice, our GIS manager, flew it last week for us to get updated pictures. But those particular box culverts we talked about, there's the 9-barrel, 12 by 8 inch, 12 by 8 foot 9-barrel box culvert. Pretty big structure. In addition, I like this photo. It also shows there were significant storm water improvements that we just completed up Viewpoint Drive. If you can look in the foreground, you look to the north, the interchange actually at 89A is in the foreground. So as you can see, things are shaping up out there, but wanted to point out some of the stormwater management improvements. That box culvert, that 9-barrel box culvert, if you wanted to buy one, costs about $1 million. In addition, the underground storm drain, those are two 72-inch pipes taller than me. Those are actually cost about $1 million of infrastructure to help the drainage in that area. So this is Drainage Central right there at the Viewpoint Connector existing Roundup intersection. Have a few more slides I wanted to show. This is a good slide to show that, once again, a better shot of that 9-barrel box culvert. But you can look the other, I guess the little brother, but pretty significant, is the 3-barrel box culvert that, if I recall, that's 10 by 7 foot. So very, very large structure, but when you're looking at a significant floodplain, as you see there, each of these structures have been put in as part of the Viewpoint Connector project. And collectively, about $3 million worth of improvement of that $7.5 million construction cost. As you can see in the foreground, too, when you do channelization in that other exhibit I was showing, you can see the yellow delineated there and actually in the bottom corner. When you do urbanization of the stormwater improvements to channelization, you have to prevent erosion. So that's called turf reinforcement mat, or TRM. When you put that stuff down, it helps prevent erosion in the channel. And in addition to some of the rock we put at some of the higher velocity areas, but very much an engineered type of product. And what that does allow is when things get reseeded, the grasses hold that part of the mat to keep erosion down in those urban channels. So those were some of the pictures, and pertinent to this is the stormwater management improvements put in as part of this Viewpoint Connector, of which the Yavapai County Flood Control District is making a contribution towards what we're doing here.
And Norm, if I could, if you could go back to that. There was conversation just a little while ago about Agua Fria Park. Right upstream, okay, you can see where the water truck is on the Viewpoint Drive grade. Upstream, meaning on the other side of the road itself, the plan calls for a 4 to 5 surface acre lake that'll also serve as detention basin for Agua Fria Park. And the southern boundary of Agua Fria is the old railroad grade, if you can see that. Norm, does your pointer have a laser on it? But you can see the old railroad grade. Agua Fria Park is defined on its southerly limit by that railroad grade. So in other words, everything below, for this photograph, everything below that is Agua Fria Park, or the future Agua Fria Park. And there is an application that's been before the Arizona State Land Department that they have been reviewing for 2 years for everything above the railroad grade for residential housing. And so things are moving along, and the building department ended up getting a preliminary plan on the residential component 2 weeks ago.
And to maybe show Larry's point, this exhibit probably shows it best too. You can see where we were looking at that existing picture, but you can see that the state land section there, as discussed, the particular northern end would be the Agua Fria Park. You can see they're very similar to what Bob Edwards Park is, just about, I don't know, you can see the size of Bob Edwards Park. That park's, 25 times bigger? So, very much the same concept. Is the Bob Edwards Park is a smaller version, but that's actually where you utilize floodplain for amenities. You keep any permanent structures out, but why not have a co-use? So, as Agua Fria Park builds out, as Manager Darkowski points out, very much a plan for lakes and other particular improvements to get a co-use. Done in urban environments to have that co-use to where you can get the benefit most of the time and have some park space and open space. And it's always important to point out too, it's always been in our long-range plan, the Viewpoint Corridor, as you can see from Long Lick, as we continue to build that corridor out, that is been planned a linear park in the past. So once again, you can see the floodplain there. You can put lots of trees and multi-use paths in that particular way and have a co-use, but be a real nice corridor through the center of the town. I've never been to New York and Central Park, but picture a Central Parkway. It will, add all kinds of amenities for our new community service department to plan, and that's part of the excitement of what you can build as you continue to develop the town out is linear parks, big parks, regional parks, all wrapped up into one with connectivity and transportation connectivity too. The last slide I wanted to show you that we took last week did want to show you some of the black stuff going down. There is asphalt that went down last week, so they've paved actually the middle portion to get some of that grade covered up. So it's important to note that particular 1 mile section, what you're seeing here is a connection to Long Mesa, and some of the changes going to be in place of the particular route. As you can see, Viewpoint will have this more direct route to the town core here with the particular geometric changes. So I have been in touch with the contractor. We anticipate over the next month they're going to finish the curbing for that section as we showed in the other slide, just a construction update. But this particular section here will receive the curb and gutter and actually asphalt paving improvements over the next month. So we anticipate by November 1st, traffic will be able to drive this particular route, and we won't put them on the new alignment all the way to Manly, but they will be able to use that route and use the old roundup way as an interim condition until we finish, probably in February. So that's some of the construction updates. That's a lot of the particular background on the past funding. We appreciate Supervisor Mary Mallory on always advocating for us. I know she worked very hard this year to get us the $125,000 that we proposed for as a contribution towards the Viewpoint Connector project. We plan on using that for some planning too and remapping of some of the floodplains, but very much appreciated funding put into place, because the stormwater management is one thing we do in public works that's very important when we do get those big storms in order to manage it effectively. But I'd like to have, with the mayor's permission, that Supervisor Mallory come up and say a few words if she would.
Sounds good.
Supervisor Mallory?
I have a quick question while she's coming up, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Go for it, ma'am.
So the $125,000 is per capita, or what we collect? Our taxes actually collected.
Not per capita. It's a levy on your property tax within an incorporated area, so we can make application to the flood control district for studies and projects. So it's collected as a levy on all the properties within Prescott Valley incorporated limits,
right,
and countywide.
This is the same money that there was a little extra that jurisdictions didn't use and we could apply and got more of, right, this year?
Correct. You can always apply for it, but once again, all of us, my peers, we all have our hands out. We all have good projects. So Supervisor Mallory works very hard for our interest to say, yes, let's land some of that particular funding for stormwater upgrades in Prescott Valley incorporated limits.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, staff. Norm, do a great job. That whole area looks wonderful up there. And you've done a lot of flood work over the past several years, and of course this is about 18 months now I've been on the county. So I look forward to many more years and much more contribution going toward Prescott Valley as it continues to grow. And I think I love my town. I love what you do. So proud to represent you. So thank you.
Awesome, ma'am. And I'll just reiterate what Norm said. Thanks for fighting for Prescott Valley. We all appreciate it.
Well, if I remember right, Mayor, you said you had a list, and I get a feeling I better start checking that thing off.
There's nothing wrong with lists. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right, Norm, are we moving on?
Moving on.
Switch to that, please. Switch to that.
Next item, Mayor, if I could, or if you want to announce it.
I'm sorry? This will be our 3 installation of hot melt crack seal materials. That's our bid award. And Mr. Davis brought some show and tell items.
Yes, Mayor. With excitement every year, look forward to the crack seal season, which is always typically in the fall. As you know, chip seal we perform in the summer with the summer temperatures, and crack seal is just about the opposite. We like to perform it in the late fall to where the pavements start to get cold and start to contract, so we get the best advantage for applying crack seal for our crack sealed streets. So as you can see, this is what we typically put on our website or part of the presentation, some of our maintenance treatments. You can see some of the crack filling we do. I always like to show the patch trailer we have, and on the other side is typically the labor that's put in the cracks once the crack seal material is procured. So council may recall that we talked about tonight what you're going to consider is the award of the crack seal labor. So council may recall back in September we awarded the crack seal purchase material. So we get a very good deal through the state. This is an engineered product. As you can see it here, this is what it looks like, and that is the crack seal material that we put in. It's a Polyflex. It is an engineered material, but we took delivery just this week of the pallets of the Polyflex, we call it. So there's 20 pallets there. There's roughly, 50 boxes in a pallet. So there's about 1,000 of these boxes in the crack seal that we put in out there. So as you may recall, I was a little dismayed that I didn't have a sample because I get to play show and tell usually, but we hadn't any delivered yet, and we don't keep it inventoried. If we got it, we go put it in cracks until we run out of it. So tonight I'm very happy to present that I do have my show and tell item, and each one of you have received a cutting off of this particular one this afternoon. So you're actually looking at the crack seal material that each one of you have a little sample of. So that's what it is. We heat it and melt it, as you can see in this particular picture here. It's put into a hot kettle, and you can see the wands and the particular workmen out there with the workmanship to put in all these cracks. So where that particular material is going is, you can see this is what we unveil every fall. It's much anticipated by the public, and we get a lot of hits on this for the exciting fall program. So as you can see, some of our main arterials will receive some crack seal, being Glassford, Robert, and Windsong, and Old Black Canyon Highway and Stone Ridge. And you can see up there in Pronghorn, and actually Quailwood is on the rotation. We've always talked about we're very methodical in what we do. You remember the colored map of what's been done last? Well, we follow that map, so you take a colored map. If it hasn't been done yet, some of those years that were longest done, we go take care of. So that's part of, you could overlay that colored map and say, well, where we're performing is the ones that's going to be done next. They get a crack seal if that's the right application. And some of the newer pavements and some of the newer subdivisions, it's a real good maintenance treatment to perform the crack seal to keep the water out of the particular area. So talked about what this is on the town website, been out for about a month. So we did take bids. We had 5 bidders to perform the labor to put in the crack seal material, as you saw here. Actually, we're going to get 2 more truckloads very similar to this. So we're getting 3 semi-loads, and that will be put on the streets that you see. And we did have 5 bidders, with a local contractor. Turco is the lowest bidder. So we look forward. We've worked with them in the past. It's been a few years ago, but they're really looking forward to performing this work for us. And they're the low bid at $94,275. And upon, if we move forward to the award next week, we anticipate the contractor getting started about mid-October and getting done about mid-December. So those are the roads we're doing, and that's the program as we continue to maintain. We talked about the significant expenditure for the service level of roadways. This is one of the facets. This particular endeavor, we're going to spend about $100,000 in labor and about $75,000 in crack seal material for an aggregate of about $175,000, almost $200,000 worth of investment, which is a very good treatment for some of our better pavements out there. So enjoy your free samples. Thank you for letting me allow you to play a little show and tell tonight. I always look forward to that. But that's the fall crack seal program.
Norm, do you know off the top of your head what the last year's bid was?
Can I ask him what?
What was the last year's winning bid? Just because the reason I ask, I mean, it appears that a couple of our bidders didn't have too much interest in actually winning the award this year, ranging from $337,000.
Those 2 last contractors were new this year. Keep in mind, when we do public purchase, that goes worldwide. Some people do take a stab at it. I don't know what they were bidding. It wouldn't be my recommendation tonight. You can see the top 3 there have worked for us in the past.
Sure.
That's what it's worth. The last 4 and 5, I guess it's a free world to turn in a bid, but it wouldn't be staff's recommendation to award to them if they did get it. So It doesn't take much, I guess, to send in a bid, but yes, as far as the great competition, CBJ's had the project about the last 3 years. Turco was like 4 years ago, so you can see the head-to-head competition, and in fact, Graham has come and worked for us in the past too. So all three of those people, they rotate who's got the sharper pencil that particular year, and it might be too when they're available, because we do have a timeline to perform, and that may be it too. But very good price there, as you can see from Turco and CBJ.
Councilwoman?
So I have a question. So this is one of the newest samples recently taken from the product delivered, correct?
We got that delivery last Monday, so yes, that's a box off the pallets there. In fact, you can probably see in the picture the plastic moved away. We grabbed a box out of there, so that's the newest stuff.
Okay, so my question is, how long does this stay this pliable? Because it's a lot more soft and pliable than I thought it would be. I know you have to heat it to melt it to apply it, but does it come to a point where it goes bad or becomes too brittle to work with?
It does over time. So to tell you how long that would be, keep in mind sun is what degrades asphalt pavements. That's why we put a chip seal and rejuvenating oils at times. So very similar. This particular product works well when it stays pliable. So if you fill that particular crack and then we are able to perform a chip seal within the next year or two, it does stay pliable enough to be encapsulated. So to tell you if you can keep the sun away from it with that chip seal, that's why that stuff will probably stay pliable for a great deal, 10 years or more. And that's what, if you keep the water sealed from your asphalt pavements, they are a flexible pavement. That's what saves your pavements and gets you that longer service life. So to answer your question, if we perform the chip seal, many, many years and stays pliable. In fact, during our hot June months, there's times that you can put a screwdriver in it just due to ambient temperature. So keep in mind this product performs at the 95, 100 degrees we get here in Prescott Valley down to the teens or zeros we can get here at time too. So it performs in that wide temperature range. A very good product for the price.
Vice Mayor?
I just wanted to thank you and tell you that when you do Old Black Canyon, you're going to make a believer out of some of those sisters up there, because they told me I didn't know what I was talking about, that Old Black Canyon would ever be done. I showed them the calendar, I showed them everything, but there's two of them up there that aren't happy at all you're going to do it because they want any traffic. So it's the yin and the yang. It's the yin and the yang every time we do a project like this.
Yeah, I have a question regarding road maintenance that has nothing to do with necessarily chip seal, but somebody had brought it to my attention, and I figured I have you here now. I could ask you, the sewers that are in the roadways, at what point do we raise them so that you don't have that? I mean, the ones in my neighborhood, some of them are down like an inch or two, and I just want to know at what point do we raise them so that they're flush with the roadway?
We do raise them on occasion for our more significant roadways, but as with everything, it's a matter of cost. And so we don't raise them too frequently. We put a half-inch chip seal out there. So to tell the truth, we go out and measure them and drive them ourselves to see if it's reasonable that we raise them. But some of our major arterials, we do raise them, but not in the residential roadways. It's really not a priority at this point. As you saw, we're still on a 10-year cycle for chip seal. I'd recommend 5 or 6 years. So you're always playing catch up. So it's probably not an expenditure to raise the manhole lids would be a good recommendation when you're fighting to continue on a maintenance cycle that saves your pavement. But we do raise them on occasion.
Yeah, well, thank you. Now I have an answer for him, and I'll give it to him.
Awesome. Anything else for Mr. Davis?
No, that'd be it. Bring it back for award next week.
Sir, thank you very much for your time. Folks, thanks for coming out. You have a safe night.